So I have an update for you on the current efforts to strike down the ATF's new pistol brace rule. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into the video, if you think the ATF's rule on pistol braces is clearly invalid and violates the Second Amendment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to give a shout out to one of the main supporters of this channel, which is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense liability protection. So if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you take a look into USCCA, and I will leave a link to them down in the details section and also in the pinned comment. As I mentioned in the intro, in this video, we will be discussing a lawsuit which challenges the ATF's new rule on stabilizing braces, also known as pistol braces. This new pistol brace rule makes it so that almost any pistol with a brace attached to it will now be considered an SBR and therefore subject to the NFA's restrictions. In response to the final rule, which was established and published, the Firearms Regulatory Accountability Coalition, also known as FRAC, along with SB Tactical in 25 states, have sued the ATF and are attempting to halt this enforcement of the pistol brace rule and essentially get it struck down. Most of you are aware that we recently received an order and clarification from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in the Mock v. Garland lawsuit. In that recent order and clarification, the Fifth Circuit panel stated that an injunction was granted in favor of the plaintiffs in that case. The plaintiffs included Maxim Defense, some individual plaintiffs, FBC, and also their members. After the Fifth Circuit's clarification, then GOA and its members got an injunction protecting them, and then SCF also got a similar one, and that is all piggybacking off of the mock order. Currently, all these injunctions against the pistol brace rule are in place for a temporary basis, only until the Fifth Circuit 3-judge panel rules in the Mock v. Garland case. Recently, the Fifth Circuit held oral arguments in that pistol brace case, and now we're just waiting to see what that decision will be. But with all these cases, one of the outliers has always been the FRAC lawsuit, which is not in the Fifth Circuit, but is instead in a federal district court up in North Dakota. After the Fifth Circuit issued the clarification, all the lower courts in the Fifth Circuit issued a temporary injunction, essentially just temporary halts in favor of the plaintiffs in those cases, primarily targeting the memberships and those organizations, like I mentioned, SAF, GOA, and all those other organizations. The one court that has not done that yet is the FRAC court because they're up in North Dakota. The plaintiffs in the FRAC lawsuit include the 25 states that had joined that lawsuit, and again, all those 25 states, the plaintiffs in the FRAC lawsuit submitted the mock order and the clarification as additional support to that federal district court judge in the North Dakota case, saying that that judge should issue a similar injunction at least on a temporary basis. But the FRAC court has refused to rule on this issue even on a temporary basis like all those other courts have. And I think the recent brief which was filed by the ATF in that FRAC lawsuit is the reason why an injunction has not yet been entered against the ATF's pistol brace rule in favor of the plaintiffs in the FRAC case and also those 25 states which joined that lawsuit. And that would be significant to get an injunction which would protect 25 states. In the FRAC lawsuit, the plaintiffs argued that the rule is a final agency action that exceeds the ATF's statutory authority. The rule regulates pistols and other firearms equipped with stabilizing braces, even though the text, structure, history, and purpose of the NFA and GCA show that the statute does not regulate such weapons. In the lawsuit in response, the ATF argued, over the last decade, firearms manufacturers have marketed devices widely referred to as stabilizing braces. These devices are generally designed to attach to the rear end of a heavy pistol made with a rifle receiver, but no buttstock. Though stabilizing braces are frequently advertised to wrap around or brace against a shooter's forearm to assist with one-handed firing, manufacturers often design them to resemble common shoulder stocks and market them so that they may be used to convert pistols into shoulder-fired firearms. The result of this has been the widespread circumvention of Congress's longstanding requirements for the manufacture and possession of short-barreled rifles. In the FRAC lawsuit, the ATF tries to claim that their new pistol brace rule is simply a clarification, it's not a new rule, it's not an expansion of the rule, and it's simply an attempt for them to try to aim to stop what they believe is illegal circumvention of the current laws. Then the ATF tried to argue that the plaintiffs in the case do not have standing because they did not present evidence to the court on what braced pistols they have, what plaintiffs have what, and also they claim that the plaintiffs in the cases have not submitted the braced pistols to the ATF and have never been denied a tax stamp for those SBRs. The ATF argues that the plaintiffs would have to submit that type of firearm that they had, and then the court would have to analyze whether or not those firearms are in fact SBRs on their own. And all that would have to happen prior to having any standing to sue the ATF over the new rule. So the plaintiffs and the ATF have put forward their arguments for why an injunction should or should not be granted in this case. Then after the Fifth Circuit order, we all suspected that the court would issue a temporary injunction like all the other courts did. Of course, the North Dakota District Court is not bound by anything that the Fifth Circuit has said, but the chances are very high, or we thought it was very high, that the mock order would in some way provide an easy avenue for a temporary halt in the FRAC lawsuit, that the court there could use the mock decision or the mock temporary injunction to essentially put a halt also on this case in favor of the plaintiffs, FRAC as an organization, and also the 25 states. But the ATF recently submitted a response to the mock supplemental authority, which I think has essentially stayed the hand of the FRAC court, of this North Dakota court, and has essentially prevented the court from issuing any type of relief. The notice of the ATF states, defendants hereby respond to plaintiff's notice of supplemental authority and May 31st compliance deadline. As that notice informed the court, 2 district courts granted plaintiffs motions for preliminary injunction in Texas v. ATF and Brito v. ATF. Unlike the denial of the preliminary injunction in Miller v. Garland, neither decision provides reasoned analysis addressing plaintiffs' likelihood of success on the merits. Instead, both follow a Fifth Circuit motions panel's unpublished order in Mock v. Garland, which itself provides no reasoning. Defendants respectfully submit for the court's awareness that the Texas decision's Article 3 standing and irreparable harm analysis was contrary to the 8th Circuit and Supreme Court precedent. With respect to the private plaintiffs in that action, Texas summarily relied on the Fifth Circuit's implicit determination that a different set of private plaintiffs had demonstrated irreparable harm. The court also determined that Texas had demonstrated standing and irreparable harm based on compliance costs, despite Texas's failure to show it would incur any such costs or substantiate its claims with any competent evidence. In any event, the district court still concluded Texas could not assert sovereign or quasi-sovereign interest as a basis for relief. Moreover, they state, both reference decisions underscore that any injunction should apply only to the parties before the court. Then they go on essentially to point out that in that order that they're referencing there, the one where GOA was also trying to get the injunction expanded to the state of Texas and the residents of the state of Texas, the court there denied that type of protection and limited it to only the state of Texas, their employees and agents, but the court refused to expand it to all Texas residents. And they are now using that in this FRAC lawsuit to say this case here primarily seeks to get coverage of the 25 states, essentially protection for the 25 states and their residents. You can't then try to use this other decision as a basis for that when that court there also denied the expansion to protect all the residents. So what the ATF is doing is framing the FRAC case as the outlier of all the pistol brace cases that are currently going on. And in some way it kind of is because of the 25 states that are attached to the lawsuit. To me, I think this is a weak attempt by the ATF to prevent the injunction, but I think it has made the court hesitant in granting an injunction while at least the mock lawsuit is currently going on. Also, I think the mock order and clarification currently being in effect has provided relief to the point where the North Dakota court here does not feel the current pressure to rush any decision. I mean, there is some sort of protection for members of all the different organizations. Remember, currently there's protections for FBC's members, GOA's members, SAF's members. So I think this has all led to the FRAC court taking no action. And I think they probably will wait until the Fifth Circuit issues their decision after that mock oral argument. Now, that mock oral argument has already taken place, and now we're just waiting to see how the Fifth Circuit's going to rule on that issue. So that is where the pistol brace issue currently stands. All eyes, I believe, will be on the Fifth Circuit and the decision in mock. And I think once we get that decision, all these other cases will be impacted. And then I think you will also see the FRAC lawsuit get going very aggressively. But of course, if anything else develops, I will let you all know. Also, if you like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of two-way news. As always, I want to thank everybody who likes, comments, subscribes, who hits the notification bell, who shares these videos. You guys are directly impacting these videos, impacting this channel, and helping me to reach and educate more people than I could ever do on my own. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.